Welcome to the Collecting the Past podcast. Funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities and in partnership with the Flannery O'Connor Institute for the Humanities, this project paired students from Georgia College with community members to collect oral histories from individuals who either lived in Milledgeville during the heart of O'Connor's writing career or whose lives were shaped by events that took place during this period. Our goals with the project are to expand the existing historical narrative of our town by documenting unwritten life stories and creating a public digital archive. As you'll hear, the students had fun creating their own podcasts in the style of their choice. Like our narrators, each episode has its own personality.
So, interviewer is Juliann Mackiewicz, interviewing Miss Mary Copelan. The time is 1:29 and we are in City Hall of Milledgeville. So, Miss Copelan, you had confirmed to me that you were born in Milledgeville, correct?
Yes.
So, can you tell me a little bit about what your experiences were like growing up in Milledgeville?
Growing up in Milledgeville, born and raised here, never leave other to travel and come back. As a little girl, my father had me as a teenage child, so more people think that I'm more so the sister than the niece. I actually got a chance to walk through some very dark times in the city of Milledgeville, but yet some more progressive times as times moved on. Growing up, I grew up right here off Jefferson Street in what we used to call the Body Project area. If you drive down Jefferson Street right now, you'll see the renovations where they've turned it into the Graham Home area and renamed that particular area. I lived right there at the very tip of Graham's home in a little small one-bedroom house with my parents, and then my grandparents and my aunts and uncles lived right behind us. So growing up, I experienced so much community love. And when you hear the phrase that people say, it takes a village, well, we had a village in that day and time, and it was a strong village. If my grandmother needed anything, then we could always count on the next door neighbors. Or if she had to go somewhere, she could always count on the next door neighbors to watch us. So we had a really great childhood growing up. I share with most people, growing up in this community, I didn't know what it meant to want for anything. I grew up in a two-parent home, loving family. We had a nice home always. We always had 2 cars. And both parents was working and loving parents. So I probably was afforded more of an opportunity than most children at my age. However, I saw my father walk through a lot. And I tell people that I am my father's replica. He wanted a son, but he got a daughter first. So I'm like 6 years older than my brother. However, every step that he took in life, I took the same steps. He worked for the city of Milledgeville as a police officer. Believe it or not, this building that we're sitting in right now used to be where we housed our inmates. Whenever they made a stop, this is where you came to bond out your family member. It's right here in this community. A lot of people don't understand the history, how the post office right across the street, that was the gathering place for most. But we also saw City Hall sitting right across the street, that if you had to come and see your loved ones that had been locked up for whatever the reason might have been, or arrested, let me put it that way, had been arrested for whatever the reasons might be, you came to this building that we're sitting in right now. The lay of the land where we see Georgia College, which you all are at now, my parents were really workers there. Grandparents, uncles. My uncle was a head baker there. My mom and Tina in turn became a head baker there. I had an aunt to work there that worked in dorms forever and a day until she died. She retired from Georgia College. I experienced my first real concert at Georgia College. We had Sister Sledge here, and that was the first concert. My father not only worked for the Milledgeville PD department, but he worked for Georgia College PD department as well. So we have a lot of rich history there. I've seen Georgia College grow in leaps and bounds. I mean, I can remember it when it was just the very center where the courthouse, the old courthouse, sits right now, that they utilize for different things at this particular time. It was probably the most, I would say this was the most beautiful area, giving our civil history along with the times. Georgia, Milledgeville, Georgia, people don't know that we was once the capital of the state of Georgia. And so when I say that to most, and they say, "You're the mayor of a once capital city?" Yeah. Actually had my first inauguration dinner. I had it in the Capitol, and a lot of people don't know that history transferred with me. Even down to my next election, they had another coming together of Congress where they convened just before my election. So that's a lot of history there that most people really don't know, that we need to get out to share with others about our history. It's just not most people think that Milledgeville was just one of those old racist towns. Everybody have their issues, and we had good people in our community that we traded with. Most people see Griffin Street, Floydale Griffin Street now, which was McIntosh Street. Well, that's where all your African Americans did their business, from Allied Arts all the way across to Wayne Street. Wayne Street was a big part of our history growing up that we frequented a lot. We also shopped on this side of the city. However, there were stores. We had to go in at the back. We had to go in restaurants from the back of the restaurant. You could not enter from the opening of the doors at the front building, but you could go in certain stores and shop and get what you needed, and then you came back out. If you go off of what I say is Hancock Street going out across the bridge, that used to be an old shaky bridge there that went up full of metal. The lay of the land has changed drastically here. You took that road and it took you to a fort that you either went to Sparta or you either went to Sandersfield. And so most people could see the hardwood, from the river. You could look down and see the hardwood area where they would take hardwood and harvest hardwood. People would go down to the river and get in the river and have fun. But nevertheless, the area, the bridged area, was cut down. So that's why we have the flat bridge there rather than the bridge that went up high. Mm-hmm. And you could see coming down the hill all the way up the hill when you went up or went down. My family roots go back as far as Sandersfield and Sparta, so we traveled a lot as a child. We did a lot of traveling, even up to 441 North Columbia Street. The whole layout is totally different from when I grew up. We moved from Grimes Avenue when I was probably 6 years old to what we call Dunlap Road, which is up by the mall right now. When I went up that way as a child, it was dirt road. As you can see now, it's paved. We had some commercial stores there. I want to say it was Green Acres, Woolworths, some different things up there. We had right at the Strip Plaza across from Century Bank. That was Northside Elementary School. So that's where I attended elementary school from grades K up until grade 4. Best time of my life was spent there. We actually lived, our neighborhood butted up to the back of the school, so I could walk to school through the path. And I think about it today, I'm like, wow, you walked through the woods to school. You walked from Dunlap Road all the way over to Baldwin High School right off Irvington Road. And you think about the kids now, how they get, so many children can't do that today simply because of the fact that somebody's snatching somebody's children. And I think that's a part of growing up. It gives you that real sense of camaraderie and being able to mature and grow along with your classmates, to be able to have that walk just to school. And it matures you a whole lot. Well, I did it a lot as a young student. I walked right up Jefferson Street, let me go back there, where you see the church sitting there. That was just a big orchard area. We picked pecans there. When you come back here to the railroad, that was like a, I'm not going to say, it was part of the brick area, but it was also called the, I can't think of the name right off, but the train would go there and had a tunnel that you can go through. And then right at the railroad track where the church is sitting, they had like a depot there. So we oftentimes played in that area to look at it. The layout is so different. I often share with people, I wish we could do a mural of all the pictures of what Milledgeville, Georgia actually looked like back in the 60s, late 50s, 60s, that it would blow people's mind. When I tell my kids about it, they're like, no way, Mom, it couldn't have looked like that. Going back to 441 North, Garrett Way, I walked that area all the time. we would have to go up and down that road. Where you see now is Food Depot. You actually had to go around there. It was so many trees and green space there. They cut that road. Right there in that area was the old drive-through theater. So we would drive in for movies there and sit there and watch our movies, and then you had your school across the street. Sailboats, which used to be a big boat, sat right in front of where the school was, and then the school came there. And my mom worked there, so we used to go there and eat a lot. And then 441 just kind of grew up. We went from Dunlap from one side. Some of the various stores that you see now have been here before. Sonic hadn't been here before. It was across the road where we have Crystal, and I think where the dry cleaners was, that's where Sonic was. And so if you go up and down that road, a lot of the different commercial stores that are there now hadn't been here before. We had a nice little strip mall right next to the school. So if you came out of the back of our neighborhood, which was called Castlewood, you would be right on the main road, on the main strip there. If you went around or went up towards Dunlap, and I'm sure you're familiar with Reams Air Conditioning Place, which is now called Foss Brothers, the road took you so far before you had to go all the way around like a countryside. Even if you came back off what is Garrett Way now, it led you back. You had to go so many loops around all the wooded area. And when it brought you back to Highway 22, that was a long area for you to walk or travel, unattended at my age. However, we did, because we had the pool system there. We had what we call Baldwin County pool system that sat there. So a lot of us would frequent it during the summers. We would walk up there to swim and walk back home. And then that was the fairground as well for a long time. We would go out to Baldwin County Recreation Department, and it was our fairground. So it seemed as though that was a long traveling road. You would bring it back in, and believe it or not, where you're at the hospital right now, that was all woods. You actually, the very front of the hospital, you would take a little detour and drive in the front, but you couldn't go behind it, anywhere behind it, because it was a wooded area. So you came back out the West End area, the area over there where the Boys and Girls Club is. Nothing looks the same compared to when we came. Corner Pantry sat in the middle of it's not McIntosh, that is can't call it the road right now, but it sat right there. And then on Irvington Road across the street, which is on the other side, you had the high school where I attended high school, where we all remember the best times of our lives coming through high school was right there. Football games, running up and down the field at Central City Park. That was a part of our exercise corps over there, to be able to go up and down that hill. And when I say we've had the best years there, I think so many of some of the council members spent their time at Baldwin High School before all of the rising of the other school systems that are here now. And we had the best teachers here. I mean, it was just literally what you say is a family, that if you got in trouble at school, you got in trouble at home. And when you got in trouble at home, you didn't have any more problems at school. So those were great times, really great times. And I wished I could just paint a mirror to show everybody what this city really looked like. You see, that is the old police department that's sitting down on my floor. It's the newer look of City Hall, but that's where we actually are sitting right now. We're in City Hall right now. And that has been our municipality forever and a day. We work on two different governments, the municipality, and then we have our county government. So we all have different buildings and different perspectives on how things are ran in our community.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think a mural would be fantastic. I also really am interested in what has come and gone in Milledgeville, especially with locations and stuff like that. Specifically this downtown strip right here, because I feel like things are always coming in and out of that area. But I kind of wanted to go back a little bit. Regarding your family, did your family have any specific or special traditions that you guys would do? And when I say that, a lot of time people get confused, but it could be anything from every Sunday you would go to church and then go get lunch, or even Christmas holidays or anything like that.
We did. Christmas is big in our house. Well, all holidays were big in our house. Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, just your birthday. They were big in our home. What we would do, church was a must. And I grew up in what you all probably know is Flag Chapel Baptist Church here off of Franklin Street. We were there when the old church burned down. And so we had to literally go into a church right over here off of Thomas Street. And the church is still sitting there now. It's a Seventh-day Adventist church. We worshiped there until the new church was erected. And once it was built, we marched back into the new church. So that is my church of birthright. I still attend there now, although I'm a minister myself, and I have my own church, and then so now I just kind of fall into things wherever I'm at, church-wise, simply because I wear so many hats, and it's hard to be hands-on with my congregation and not feel as if I'm letting them down because I'm doing too many other things. But Christmas was one of the biggest things in my household. Grandmother always opened the first gift at 12 o'clock at night. Everybody else had to wait till the next morning. But that was a big to-do thing in our household growing up. I can actually tell you I remember a Christmas with over 100 and some presents up on our tree. And that sticks with me now. I have 5 grandchildren, and I told my grandchildren last year we went through a devastating loss of my oldest granddaughters that this year we're going to see that Christmas with more than 100 plus presents on our tree, because I believe in showing them how I was raised and reliving it so that they can carry on the same traditions with their children when their children come along. Easter was always big because of our faith. We always had a big Easter and Thanksgiving. Those are the times. My grandmother's house was always a house where everybody came to. And I carried that same tradition over when I became an adult, was that my children brought everybody to our house. So right now I feel like the little woman in the shoe. I have so many children, I don't know what to do. And they don't forget me. If they see me somewhere, it's like, hey, Mom, and I'm looking around like, who's that, So those traditions that we hold dear, that most people do, the dressing, the turkey, the things that we came up on, we didn't come up on the fried turkey, but we love the baked turkey, we love the dressing, the hen, the collard greens, potato salad. Oh my God, I could sit there and just eat my grandmother's dressing straight from the pan, okay? So we try to keep that going with my small family knit now. Our matriarch, we always make sure we either do something at her house, if not her house, my house, or some of the older young men will do it at their houses. So it's for us not to be close would be a terrible thing. And I see so many families that don't keep that bond, and I share with them, I don't care where you are, who you are, family is all you have. And you need to keep that bond and keep it going. Try to keep your traditions going. And always look back and remember, your traditions can carry you far in life because it'll keep you rooted and grounded if you want them to. If you don't want them to, then you're going to stray away from them. But if you stick with it, I think your outcomes will be great. It was one thing when you said something about going back in the downtown. We actually had a train ran right through the center of downtown. I don't know if anyone has told you all about that. The train ran right through the center of Milledgeville. So, I get to looking at movies like Louisiana and places like that, New Orleans, and I'm like, I wonder could we fit that back into Milledgeville, with the college students here and how you all's family frequent our community so often. Could we fit some of those things back in here to bring the uniqueness back? That one thing that makes us stand out is our community. So I think overall, just loving on each other. One thing my grandmother told us on her going away from here, dying bed, is that you always treat people the way you want to be treated. You love people in spite of. Don't ever try to treat them like they treat you. And I've instilled that in my kids. If you have to turn the other cheek, you be Jesus, turn the other cheek. And you treat them like you want to be treated. So that's where we are in being grounded and rooted as a family and having special occasions.
It's awesome that you can have those traditions and keep them with you. I think personally I don't really have that many traditions, but I think it's so cool that the idea of just keeping something going, because it's something that even
as you're showing, your family members, your new ones, it's like you always have these like memories of when you were a child and all those special times that you're now giving to them. I think that's so beautiful, and I love that so much. So I think it's awesome that you're doing that. Do you have a specific like favorite memory from childhood?
All of my memories are fun. As I stated, never saw a bad day as a child, and I'm blessed to be able to say that. Family members were always there. I think some of my fondest memories, just when I look back on life, is the fact that the friends that I had growing up were still friends to this day. And we make sure we let each other know how much we loved each other and keep in contact. And okay, you didn't call me this. You would be surprised that I have eulogized some of my very friends' parents, grandparents. And so that meant so much to me. I've married them, that I still have that relationship. Too often times now, I tell my granddaughter, I said, associates are just what they are, associates. They might be with you today and they might not, but to have genuine friends to come along in your life, it's like a one-time experience. And once you get them, you don't ever want to let them go. And so my biggest and brightest spot between being my dad's daughter as a child is just walking in his footsteps, knowing that I accomplished things that made him proud when he was alive. I lost my dad at a young age. He was 45 years old, had just got struck by lightning. Very, very horrific thing. He was working at the Henry County Sheriff Department, and I'm here at the Department of Corrections. Both of us went up the rank at the same time. And so just, knowing that I've walked in the step that he's walked in, and he's a preacher, pastor. I'm a preacher, pastor. He drove CDL, with CDL license, he drove trucks, I drive school buses, still drive school buses, as you can see in my office. It's just the knowing that you had a good upbringing and that was somebody you could mentor and watch to make your life be the same or better. And I saw that through him, that I wanted to be better. I wished he could have seen me make or become the first African-American female mayor in the city of Milledgeville, but I know he's proud. I know he's proud because there were so many times in this community that he wanted to give up. And they literally did. They moved back to Atlanta. And he tried to get me to go, and I'm like, that's a little bit too fast for me. I had two kids at the time. I had a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old. And it was during the Wayne Williams scare. So, you had to go up there. You couldn't go out like you wanted to. And so I shared with him. I said, I'll just stay home. But I'll never forget one particular incident of him that stood out with me, and it helps me to be a better mayor. It helps me to be a better person. That as an officer, he had to stop a very prominent person. He didn't know who he was from the next person. And he had to arrest him for DUI. And so they decided to send him home. But by the grace of God, the man himself knew that he was in the wrong. And he said, no, you send him back to work. He has a family to take care of. And that made Milledgeville just go to the top of the notch for me, even in those dark times. To see someone say no, it gave me a whole different outlook on Milledgeville, to know that there are some good people, and there are people that do the right thing. And because of that, that's why I'm here. I want to do the right thing. I'm a very inclusive mayor. I believe in civility and kindness. I think we have to reach everybody where they are, because everybody fits into this puzzle here. It's not about, I do this or I'm paying them up. No, it's about everybody getting along, and we're doing what's right for everybody, and making sure that everybody have that fair and equal opportunity to live, work, play, school, whatever they want to do here, and do it in their time and their way. So those are the times that have kept me rooted into where I am right now.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. So I kind of want to move on to your early school years. You kind of briefly mentioned that it was a pretty close-knit kind of school with the community, but were there any other specific things that were, I guess, things that you experienced in school that kind of impacted you growing up?
The fact that I had the best teachers. I mean, I can tell you from grade K all the way up to 12th grade, the best teachers that I could have ever had. Some of them are still living right now, some of them are deceased. But they made growing up something that it should be where we should be in today's society, is what teachers back then did, is that they pulled things out of you. They saw goodness in you, and they didn't let it die in you. Too oftentimes now, I don't think we pull the very good thing out of a child to show them that life is possible. Although it's hard, it's going to be possible for you to make it in life. You just got to kind of hang in there. The principals I had, matter of fact, Mr. Sammy Hall, who's on the county commissioner, was my principal in middle school. I headed to middle school. And we had several outstanding teachers that saw the good in me, even growing up. Now, growing up with your peers and stuff, you're going to have fights, I tell you. And we used to fight and play, but today you can't find that. They want to fight, but they want to pull guns and they want to do all this other stuff, and it's not that serious. Young folks are going to have disagreements, but you disagree to agree. And so, and we had those, I shared those. My class, unfortunately, we lost a lot of young students at young ages. Very hard. I'll never forget in our 6th grade year, from the very wooded area I was telling you about behind the high school, we lost one of our classmates. Got killed, young lady, 6th grade. So, that was devastating for us as children. Parents had to take you see a young child lying in a casket at that age. And for some reason in my class, it seemed like it just stuck. It was just it was a domino effect all the way through high school. So just having people to really rely on and be able to talk to and get you through those difficult moments, I contribute to my teachers, I contribute to our administrators, I contribute that to our community as a whole, being that loving family that, okay, I don't care whose child this is, we're going to make sure this child succeeds. And I think that's key with any child. I give wholeheartedly right now to a child. I will go without in my own house to make sure another child has. I don't want to see any child lacking for anything. Unfortunately, we're in a time and we're living through some things where children are going through a lot. My granddaughter just lost their mom last year. Young woman, 39 years old, left a 17-year-old and 10-year-old back here for me to raise. Didn't we see that coming? No, that was so unexpected. And so now here I have a 17-year-old in the prime of her life at GMC. She's doing excellent. When she told me the other day, she said, "Mom, I just realized I won't have my mom here for graduation." I said, "But oh, she will be. She'll be here. You're going to have so many shirts out there, you're going to think she's sitting right there holding me." So I just really wish the school system can get back to being the school system that it used to be. Probably when you came through, I know it was when I came through. I don't want it to be just a job, but I want it to be where the children can realize, hey, I got an outlet here. If I can't get it at home, I can at least go to the school system and get it. I promise you, any and every child that stepped on my school bus, if I didn't feel like something was right with them, sit right here. I kept my bus parked, so I made sure that child was okay to go into the school system. That's all they need, is just a little love and encouragement. No matter, you don't know how you can change a child's world. My kids, I took them traveling, both my adult children. When they were 3 years old, they took plane rides. They went everywhere. And so now they're affording that same opportunity to their children. They're getting ready to go on their first cruise in a couple of weeks. They're going to be on a 6-day cruise. Which grandmama could go with them, but so it's just about showing children there's another world out there. And I got that from my teachers, that it's a whole new world. It's what you want to be. We took the kids to New York about 5-6 years ago. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and I want to say the oldest one probably been maybe 10 and 7. But to see their faces light up to say, wow, I actually seen that taxi cab on television. Or I'm in Times Square when all the lights are it should motivate all of us. I don't care who you are. If the parent can't afford it, I'll tell them in a heartbeat. And let me know. Let me get some sponsorship. Let's sponsor this child. Let's get this child away from him so that they know. I want you to go and see the world. Then always come back home. You can always come back home and make roots here. But go out and plant yourself somewhere first, and then come back and make this a better place to be. So those are the things that got me through my early childhood years.
That's awesome. So would you say that your teachers are the ones that really influenced you to take on the bus driver hat as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had an uncle that was driving, and he was like, "Why don't you come on and drive a school bus?" I'm like, "I don't drive a school bus." But he got me to there, and I made 7 years this year driving school bus. So my whole tenure, I've been driving the school bus at the same time. And most people say, "How do you get off the school bus? You go dressed. We just saw you out on the bus. Next thing we know, we see you on the news or in the newspaper," and it comes with the territory. I share with people, God equipped me for this. I don't think he would have put me here if he didn't think I could handle it. So, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm kind of going to jump ahead a little bit to your post-high school kind of stuff, but did you attend a college?
I did. I actually, right out of high school, went to what we had here. It was called a Job Training Partnership Program. I went straight into JTPA as a nurse. I did 4 years as an LPN resident. I started out, got to my last quarter. I actually did my autopsy, all of the above. Got to my last quarter, dropped down in one class, which was my med-surg grade. I needed a 76. I made it a 73 on the final. So, I see that instructor all the time now. She's like, "You would have been such a good nurse." I said, "Yeah, if you hadn't given me that point they was trying to get you to give me, I would have been a nurse 30-some years ago." But it took me on somewhat of a turn. I went back to nursing school in Macon once I did that, and then I felt like, I had taken so much out of my life back then. It's not like it is now. You did that whole 18, 3 years, 4 years. I went to what is now called Middle Georgia College. It was Georgia State. I went over there, passed my Regents exam, first time there. And so I stayed with it for a while, then came back home, went back to Central Georgia Technical College, just waiting to get in the program. And for some reason, I could never get in the program with almost a 4-point average. And so I was like, okay, maybe you're redirecting God, I don't know. And surely he sent me to Beulah Heights University out of Atlanta. It's a theological school. I went there, I got my associate's degree, started working on my VA, finished up there, transferred to where I am now, which is Payne Theological Seminary. And in the next year, I will have my Master's of Divinity. So, yes, school is a number one on my plate. It's in my household. It's a must, has always been, because I feel as if you don't get an education, then you can't go far in life. Some students, we do understand, everybody's not college material. And those are the students I want to make sure we have trades for. I want you to continue to teach them how to get out here, whether it's engineering, whether it's bricklaying, electronics. I don't care what the case may be. Give them an opportunity, because everyone can't go sit down and read a book. I noticed you all. I'm like, man, I would love to have you all on my team. You can look through a book and give. That is awesome. And most kids cannot do that because they haven't got that retention skill. They don't have the will to sit there and figure something out, And if we could get our children to that, I think we would be better off. So I do. Everywhere I go, you're going to see me at Georgia College. You'll see me at Baldwin High School a lot. I'm always on GMC campus. I sit on their board. So you're going to see me anywhere I can say, further your education. Don't stop. Even if you got a doctoral degree, don't stop there. Keep moving. Keep it going until you get comfortable. Because we do what we have to do so that we can do what we want to do in life. And I think if we keep that motto in our head, it's going to always keep us where I share with people all the time. I keep many repertoires in my head because I've never known a realtor 24 years. Every time I think about something I want to do, because that could be a later in life path for you. Okay, I've completed Department of Corrections. I'm done with that. Then I moved over into nursing, moved over into this. And my hands are always in something, whether it's ministry, whether it's now I'm into the government side, and I do plan to continue to be there. I actually will be running again next year in 2025. And who knows, the sky's the limit. My heart is set on Congress, and I'm going to go there one day.
Absolutely.
So if I don't believe in myself, nobody else will.
That's amazing. That is so inspirational too. Like, wow, that's awesome. So what at first kind of influenced you to go into like a nursing program?
My uncle was a nurse, and I watched him growing up. As I said, we had a close-knit family, and I would just watch him just sit and study, you know, and my heart was there. I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do in life. And I just followed in those steps and wanted to be a nurse. Not knowing the very man I'm married to, that they both went to nursing school together. So my husband is a retired nurse, and so we oftentimes tease each other at the table. He'll say, well, I'm not going to be the doctor that has to see about you because, you know, you're a nurse by heart and, you know, learning. And he said, it amazes me that you have not forgotten any of your nursing. And I said, it's like riding a bike. Once you get on it, you never forget. Yeah. Because I never know when I'm going to have to jump into action to save somebody's life. And I'm going to do just that. If it means my own, I want to jump into action to save someone else's life.
Yeah. You seem so well prepared for everything. That's amazing.
I credit that to the man up above. I think he has orchestrated my steps for such a time as this. And I'm grateful for that. And he's still orchestrating my steps. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So when was it that you had moved back from to Milledgeville after attending colleges?
I never left here to attend. I always traveled.
Oh, wow.
I made that ride to Atlanta like it was nothing, 2-3 times a week. Wow. Right now I travel to Savannah. Whatever weekends we have to go to Savannah, I travel down there and come back. I never spend a night. I spent a night one time, but I make the drive religiously because I just feel like that's the course of action he has me on, and it's something I got to get out of, working hard to get to it. And so I've never left home just to go to school. I always traveled in and out.
That is crazy. I cannot imagine commuting
Yeah.
like that every day for school.
Yeah, it's a really definitely, you got to be dedicated to it.
Absolutely.
And if you're not dedicated to it, then don't put your hand to the plow because you're going to turn back. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So can you give me like a synopsis of like all of the careers that you've had leading up to mayor, or just like the ones that have been like most impactful for you, or even just like the most interesting or anything like that?
You know, I think all of my careers led up to where I am right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
From being an officer, outside detail officer, inside detail officer, sergeant, lieutenant, and adjunct instructor for the Department of Corrections, they all prepared me for where I am right now. Mm-hmm. Because in this role, you see various different events, you see various situations going on, and if you're not equipped enough to handle it, then you're going to fail. Right. I think being a realtor puts me in the place of understanding people and homelessness and being able to own their own home versus renting. Being a bus driver gives me the great contact I need with the community, that they see me, that they know that I care about their kids, that they know I care about this community, because I want it to be a place where all happy, where we work, live, play, shop, entertain, whatever the case may be. I think putting me as a woman, as a watchman on the wall was my most prized one, because then he showed me that if I can make you faithful over those few people, then I'm going to make you faithful over the city. And he has done just that. I mean, again, I've garnered a lot of respect from people, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, Latino, African. People come to my house right now and they're like, you let people come to your house, Sister Mary? I don't have a closed door. I live in a glass house. So I'm a working mayor. And if you come, you're going to see I understand your problems. I understand people go through homelessness. I understand people have hunger problems. I understand that you can't make the bills every month. I've been a single parent, so I understand where they are, and I want them to feel my heart, because my heart is to the people. And that's my job as being the mayor, is knowing that if I do something that is right for the people, and it works for the people, and it works for our community, then I've done my job. I've done what he's required of me. I think the nursing piece goes a long ways for me, because I'm able to tell somebody something and they'll call me back and they'll be like, I'm glad I called you, because I went to the doctor and the doctor said, well, whoever told you you need to be thankful because they caught things just in time. So the whole thing, I think everything that I'm walking through right now has truly prepared me for where I am.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I'm thankful for the city of Milledgeville because it afforded an opportunity, not just on the state level, but it put me at the national, the federal level. So I travel a lot. I do a lot of classes with them. And actually, I'm getting ready to go on a board with them right now that, I haven't let out the bag just yet, but I'm getting ready to go on a bag. A program at the national level that's going to be surprising for most to know that, wow, I'm here from the city of Milledgeville. It's actually, they know that I travel. They know I go out and speak and do different things, have been since they won in office. One thing my clerk always tell me, Mr. News, he said, oh, it's going to slow down, Mayor. And I told him, maybe last year. I said, Mr. News, you told me 7 years ago it was going to slow down. He said, yeah, but Mayor, you're just one of those going mayors, so it won't slow down for you. But I've enjoyed it. I really have enjoyed the camaraderie, the relationships I've built from city to city, from state to state. I even have people that are out of our state that contacts me, that send me cards and, we're just praying for you. What can we do for you? That goes a long way in this seat. Because there are people that don't want to see you do well. There are people that resent the fact that, how dare she, being a black female, decides to run for mayor in our city. But I held my head up high. I stuck to my ground because that's what God told me He wanted me to do. I was working out towards the Atlanta area with a group, and the Lord just redirected me and said, go home. I want you to do that same thing at home. And so here I am, 7 years later, about to make my second term, 8 years. So doing well, and I love it.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So was there any transition for you in terms of your career as then becoming mayor, or was it just like an easy slide because you're so used to it?
It was an easy, smooth transition for me because, like I said, I think everything was divinely orchestrated for where I needed to sit right now. And I share with people when they ask me the question, well, what was the most difficult thing you found in your role as the mayor? I said being female, number one, being black, number two, and number three, them finding it hard to accept any kind of direction from me. I mean, you're looking at, I have a long-standing council who's been here, some of them almost 25 years. So, but I had a very diverse council. Let me say that. I had 3 blacks, 3 whites, 3 females, 3 males the whole time up until this past year when we lost, or last year when we lost one of our African-American councilmen. Then we have 3 women, and we have 4 women now, and 2 men. So it's still diverse to a certain point, but we still have some things to work through. As a council, we're a good council, and we're strong, and we support one another, and I can appreciate that in anybody. Coming into, I feel like I'm a newbie on the block. I walked into their world, they wasn't sure what I knew, or if I could handle it. But I think time showed them that she can handle it. She's not one of those coming in here just hit the table with the gavel all the time, but she was one of the ones coming in to learn as well. And so that's what I did. I kind of learned as I went up the ladder. But it's been most gratifying. I think I've garnered, as I said, a lot of respect from a lot of people, especially men. And I had one of them to say, do you know how much weight your name carries in this community? And I was like, no, I never really thought of it like that. And they said, well, your name carries a lot of weight in this community. And don't you ever forget that. And that was a pivotal moment for me to hear a Caucasian man tell me that your name carries a lot of weight. So it's been wonderful ride.
What are some of the biggest changes you've seen in Milledgeville or even the community as while you've been mayor?
Well, I think we got a better working relationship. We got our relationship of working together back with the county. Things got rocky there for a while, but then when Chairman Craig and I started to work together just before COVID, we saw a lot of things change. We came together and we bonded together to make the best decisions for the community. I think as a municipality, we have moved forward and forward thinking instead of saying, okay, we're going to get this done, but we keep putting things on the table and they get pushed back instead of pushing them forward. And I'm sure you all remember one of our biggest things, and what's my biggest platform, is the water situation that we have here. Now, it's a given, most people don't think about it until probably what they saw in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago or maybe a month ago, how their water system break. Water systems in cities as old as ours happens all the time. All we can do is start to repair where we are, and that's what we do. We repair. We're putting in new water lines. Will we have breaks then? I'm sure we're going to have them then, because it's like buying a new car. You don't know what you're going to get in that car until you drive it off the lot. So we're going to still have those issues of water and sewage problems, but we're working to make them better. We've already stamped and said, okay, we paid people to come in, contract, do the work, let's get the lines ran. And so we're looking for that to better itself as time goes on. I've seen us work tirelessly with our budgets, trying to get our employees paid. I would say what most would say a reliable salary, because people cannot live below the poverty line. That's just, you can't do it. You gotta pay people a day's wages that's gonna help them to raise their families. Milledgeville lost a lot of its economy when we lost our prison systems, when we lost our factories. That kept this city going. It's like an oil well that pumped, and it kept us, we had viability here because of the money that people were making at Central State and other jobs. So now my goal is to make sure that we get career opportunity jobs. That's why we have Georgia College and State here. That's why we have GMC and Georgia Military College here, because they can turn out career-minded people. We have to open up career-minded jobs that people are making vastly above $15 an hour. We're in a state of crisis right now. I think the average person should be making $30 an hour or more. But we've got to get our economy stable enough to be able to do that. Does that just happen on a local level? No, this is a statewide, nationwide issue, and most people got to realize that. Do we want better jobs for everybody? Yes, we do. And I hate that word jobs. I love career opportunities, because career opportunities mean I can be a professional if I choose, or I can own my own business and work at my own pace. I believe in entrepreneurship because it gives you an opportunity to say, I have a piece of the pie here, and I can do it at my own free will. I would love to see more of that here in the mid-city of Milledgeville. We're growing. We're definitely growing there. I'm so proud of the fact that I can see women moving into areas that men used to dominate. We have a female plumber here at Keith McDonald Plumbing. She owns the company. We have, I want to say, a young lady's doing an electrician. We have a young lady, Miss Mary Parham. She does flooring. She does any kind of house construction work. So it shows you that we're evolving with the time. We just got to speed up to catch up with time, because we're still behind the 8 ball when it comes to Atlanta, to Warner Robins, to Augusta. And even our smaller areas, our sisters and brothers from Gordon and Wilson County, they're closer to Dublin. They're closer to the interstate, so they can get more in than we can. They have a rail capability. We can do that here. We can have a rail capability. And we've talked about it for so many years, at least since I've been here. I'm just a mirror of action. I believe it's time out for the doing by mouth, but putting the pen to the paper and getting it done. And if we do that, I do believe we'll have a better time going forward. We're going to see Milledgeville bloom in leaps and bounds. And I shared with my council 7 years ago that 75 and 20 is coming at us like a train off the track. Are we ready? We're still not quite ready yet, but we have time to get ready. And in that getting ready process, it means we got to be moving and shaking every day. Somebody's got to see something different coming to this community every day. We need arts and crafts. We need murals. We need entertainment here. Because guess what? Today I might feel a little like I want to be in the suburbs. I don't want to go to Atlanta and be in the hot lights and all that stuff. I want to get that laid back tone here. But why can't I go out to Central State and the Pecan Orchard and have a little amphitheater day and just lay back with my family and have a cool day here? We can do a lot more than what we're doing, and I think we're headed in that direction. It's just getting there. And it takes not only mayor and council, it takes our community. If our community don't come to us and say, this is what we would like to see here, we've changed our protocol, how we do our council meetings. Our first 30 minutes is open to the public. Come sign in and tell us what you want us to know. And we have yet, in the last year, seen that many people come since we've changed. We give everybody at least 3 minutes to speak. Giving them 3 minutes and 30 minutes, that gives us at least 10 people that can come speak. And it's never nothing to come say, well, we want to see the betterment. We want to see this because we have this college here. I think big. Okay, I have Georgia College and State here. I have Georgia Middle. I want to see a stadium here. You know what I'm saying? I think just that big because I know we're big enough to do it. It's just getting everything done.
Yeah. That's awesome. I could definitely see some transitions into what you're saying, like with Milledgeville. I think that's awesome. So compared to, I know I keep making you do comparisons, but I'm just really curious if you've seen any shifts in the community of Milledgeville now versus from when you were a child.
Yes, we've had a lot of shifts. Now I would say growing up, I didn't see as much crime as we see now. But, you know, times change. I want to say that I would probably contribute that to kids getting away from going outside to play. We're always in front of a television. We got devices in our hands, stuff that makes us more privy to stuff that we shouldn't be at a young age. And so because of that, now we're seeing so much more happen in our communities, and it's just rolling down to the young crowd that they make crime more than what it should be. Milledgeville has always been a quiet, quaint town. You didn't hear that much. I remember growing up, we slept with our doors open. Our front porch, we could leave the door open, the screen door open. Some of us might be in the living room, laying on the sofa, slept on that. We could do that then. Now, would I say do that now? No, I'm not. I don't tell anybody to do that. But we should still have that own, we should be able to have our own sense of peace in our own homes. We should be able to have peace when we go outside. We're not worried about people shooting and gang activity. We shouldn't have worried about that. You know, as I shared with you, I came from the prison system. I don't think I've ever seen as much gang violence as what we're seeing right now. Even from the inside. I've never seen anything orchestrated that the hits come straight from the inside. You see it all over. I don't care where you are. I worked in both male and female services. So I actually supervised male inmates just as well as female inmates. And we never really had the problems that we're having now. You know, we have one major problem in female services. And that surprised me because I was in and out so much. I was outside detail, back to inside, night central detail. So when it happened, it really surprised me. But to see the things that are going on now, children just have too much to get into. You know, their lives are just, I don't know. When I think about it, it gives me chills because I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, and anytime that phone rings, whether it's school system, college system, neighborhood, and it's something dealing with a tragic situation that I feel like, man, what could we have done to keep that from happening? And my son said these words to me the other day. He's a retired military person. He's my youngest baby, and he said, Mom, there's nothing that if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. He said, I know you wear everybody's child, whether it's yours or not yours, on your shoulders. And I do. I really do. I wear them on my shoulders because no parent wants to send their child off to school. No parent wants to see their child in school. And no parent wants to see their child just being a child and their life is cut down midstream. I've attended many funerals of young kids. I've attended funerals where, to me, I felt like, God, this is just a senseless crime. Why did as I said earlier, giving the kids something to turn them away from all the activity that's going on. Mm-hmm. And we certainly have seen our share of increase. But then again, I showed people, we don't pick bodies up off the street like some people every day. Our incidents have been kept down in the city drastically over the last 2 years. If something happened in the city limits, you can better bet it's solved within an hour to two, no later than 2 days. It's solved. And I contribute that to such a wonderful staff, Major Boyer and their team all there, that they jump right on it. And the best thing I think we as a city and a county can have is mutual aid, where if it's in the county, the city responds. If it's in the city, the county responds. So we get a chance to pull together and make sure everybody's, detectives, everybody's out on the case and on the scene trying to work it out. As the mayor, I share with them all the time. If it's something I need to come to, I'm coming. If it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody call me, I have went out. If they call me and say, hey, we got this going on out here, I'll go right out to the neighborhood, make one call and say, okay, we're not going to do this tonight. Everybody going home, or you know where your next home going. So we definitely try to stay on top of it. Not afraid. I am a mayor that's not afraid, and I share that with many people. I will go into the gang activity areas. I really will. Because it means just that much to me to go into those areas and say, hey, let's stop this beefing. Let's stop taking innocent lives. And let's come together. What can we do as a government? What can we do to help? And 99% of the time, we're going to hear, we need jobs. We need something to do. And it's nothing for them to do. So that's why you're going to have that difference between good days and bad days, is because we just don't have enough for them to do.
Right. Yeah, I think after what you're saying, I think it's a lot. Family is very much important in times like these as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sticking together and stuff like that. I had a question in my head, but the whole thing turning off completely threw me off what I was gonna say.
I have those moments.
So I guess what I can ask is, are you familiar with any of Flannery O'Connor's works? Have you ever read any of her stuff?
I have. I'm very familiar with it. I have not been able to go up to the new area because every time they had a grand opening, I was away or whatever the case. It's something took precedent over that. I've always frequented the grand Flannery O'Connor areas as a child. We always had field trips there to make sure we understood. And that was one thing I could say when it came to our what's the area there? Our English teachers, our literature teachers, language art teachers. They were ones that made sure we was fluent on understanding history and understanding the times and the writers that you have right here that bore right here in this community. I think we do our own self a disjustice when we don't know what comes out of your community and what has made it great over the years. And we're grateful for that. I did hear or read something about they was changing something there, aren't they? They're going to change a name or do something differently with it?
Andalusia?
Here at the school.
The new science building, it's named after Ken Saladin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I read something in reference to that. So I try to keep up, what's going on, especially whether it's through the paper or just a reading. I think her presence in our community, growing up here, was very pivotal in a time for us to be able to reflect on, especially women. And I'm big on that women thing because I feel like if we don't garner or we don't learn from our previous women, then how are we going to get to the next step that we want to get to? Got to learn something from somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Did she, reading her works at all, was it something that you were interested in? Because I know a lot of people are very much you either really like it or you really don't like her writing, so.
I think it had to be, for me, you had to be interested in it. Right. You had to be interested in her journey and her purpose and why she was writing the way she wrote. For me, I was a big reader. I was an avid reader because that's how I learned. I wanted to make sure, okay, can I take myself somewhere else through a book? Or can I see somebody else's world through a book? So for me, I learned just from her writings that, how do I put it like this? Growing up in the South, and reading her writings made me more appreciative to the fact that, she understood her role. She understood her time and her place and her father and mother. She understood all that. And I think what she did was transfer that energy to us, that we need to understand what our purpose, what our motivation is, where you are in life, who puts you where you are in life, so that as you evolve in your own journey, that you will see the greater works that she did, the writings, the meaning behind it. Because as you said, so many people don't. It's like, no, that wasn't for me. But it might not, her lifestyle or her life works might have not been for you, but the message was for you, and you didn't take it and take hold of it like you should have. So I think she made a really dramatic effect on me in her writings, especially in middle school, because I love language arts. I love literature. I was a big literature person. We had a teacher, Miss Hodges. I forgot Miss Hodges. And Miss Hodges, you're going to read Langston Hughes. You're going to read about what's her name? You just said Flannery. You're going to read about there was so many different ones you had to read, Miss Hodges, or you didn't pass that grade. So you had to read it, and you got to understand it and be able to go back and interpret just what the meaning was. Because she was going to, well, you didn't get that. I didn't get that out of your paper, that you understood the points that she was making. So, yeah, I really enjoyed reading a lot of her work. And I'm going to get up there to see the new building while I'm down. I said the next time they're up there, it's going to give me a time to get up and actually see the building. I hear it's a wonderful site up there. And we were really pleased to know that it was donated to the school to be able to do further works with it.
It's crazy to me that you read Flannery O'Connor in 6th grade in middle school, because I just started reading her work, like, I guess earlier this year, and even I was like, what is happening? But I agree with you. It's definitely something that you have to pay really close attention to, with like the details and stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm a detail person. I can get somebody taking pictures, and I'm like, man, they took time to put the detail in that picture, and it puts you there. And that's something all of our instructors always teach you, is put that person as if they're right there with you. And you can feel it, you can touch it, you can see it. And I think you can contribute that to her writing. She put you right there in the midst of what she was talking about.
Absolutely. Are you going to go to the Flannery O'Connor conference at Georgia College this fall?
I don't know at this point. Like I said, I'm still healing. I'm taking one day at a time. Just trying to do my main duties right now.
Right.
If I don't, then I have a Mary Parham, depending on if Denise hosted, she might be able, or Miss Shani Map. Some of them will attend.
Yeah.
But I generally try to attend anything that Georgia College normally sends out and asks me would I take a part in. I try to. Yeah.
It'd be great to see you there if you're feeling well enough to. Don't push yourself too much. So as we're kind of wrapping up, I would like to know what you want people to remember most about Milledgeville.
When I think about Milledgeville, what I want people to remember most is that we have that Southern love here. You're going to feel it here in the air. I don't think you're going to run up on too many people that's not going to be friendly to you and say hi or excuse me or I'm sorry. And we're touchy-feely people. We'll touch you and say, oh, I'm sorry. Where some people come from New York, it's like, excuse me. Keep on going. Milledgeville is such a wonderful and beautiful city to even want to live in, to play in, to work in. I want them to know that we're still growing and we're still evolving, and that we're going to have greater things to come. And we want them to come be a part. Take a look on the internet, look at our Convention Bureau Center, look at the Chamber's website. Just take a peek in and come. Just come and visit, dine a while with us, and enjoy the river, enjoy the lake, enjoy all of our amenities that we have to offer here. And I can just about promise them, after 24 years of being into real estate, they'll find something that they love here, and they'll eventually migrate and make this their home. If nothing, most people say, let it be a retirement home. I don't want it to just be a retirement home. I want it to be a home that you come to and you say, yeah, I'm finally home after the hustle and the bustle of the city life, or moving too fast or too much cold. It's just the right fit for me and my family. So that's what I want to leave with people, is to look into our city, come in, enjoy it, stay a while. I'm sure we'll show you something that you'll love about this wonderful city.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to share about your experiences in Milledgeville that I might not have asked you about?
I think we pretty much covered. I have a affluent work history here, worked different jobs, different places. Believe it or not, when we had Shoney's here, I was a waitress there forever and a day. I've done some of it all. I substitute taught when I was working with the prison system. I was substitute teach. So I think just getting to know the mayor. I have an open door policy, and I share with people, just come on in, get to know me, and know my heart. And if you know my heart, then you're going to know our city's heart. And my heart is big, and it's for everybody. I don't care who you are, where you are, what level you're at this point in your life. I'm going to love on you in spite of.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Well, I think with that concludes our interview. Thank you so much for all of your time.
We hope you enjoyed learning more about the people and historical events connected to Milledgeville and Flannery O'Connor in this episode. If you or someone you know has stories to share related to either of these topics, we'd love to hear them. In addition to documenting community memories, you'll also help us preserve your story for future generations. Visit our website, collectingthepastmilledgeville.wordpress.com, to learn more.